This episode is supported by FX's The Shards, a seductive drama from executive producer Ryan Murphy. Set in 1980s Los Angeles, the series follows a group of glamorous, deeply entangled high school seniors drawn into a life of wealth, beauty, parties, and excess. At its center is Brett, whose reality begins to unravel when the arrival of a new student coincides with a series of mysterious murders. FX's The Shards premieres August 5th on FX and Hulu.
Hear that? That's now Crispy and McCrispy strips meeting Creamy Caesar sauce. Sounds extra crispy. Caesar sauce at McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Morning decisions. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Spin Shuffle Skip on the There Can Only Be One podcast channel. Okay, I get to finally put together a whole lot of my various interests into one episode because we're going to talk about movies, we're going to talk about music, we're going to talk about orchestra, we're going to talk about live theater because we're talking about the 2004 soundtrack to Phantom of the Opera. And Lyle Robichaud's back on the show. Lyle, how you doing, man?
Oh, Jason, I am so excited for this episode. This is one of my guilty pleasure movies. Of course, I'm usually on here talking wrestling, sci-fi nonsense, comic book stuff. So when I drop to people that one of my favorite movies of all time is the Joel Schumacher Phantom of the Opera, I often get a couple crazy looks. But anybody that, like you said, likes all crossroads of nerddom, this movie has something for it. And the soundtrack is the biggest part of that.
Now, here's the question, because you were talking about getting some weird looks. Were you getting the weird looks because you said Phantom of the Opera or because you said Joel Schumacher?
Probably because of Joel Schumacher.
Probably.
But when I was a kid, of course, that was the guy that directed Batman Forever. So, 13-year-old Lyle, when he saw this, was like, well, this guy can do no wrong. Like, how could this?
But then there was Batman and Robin.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one, though.
That is the Bruno of Batman movies. We don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno. I honestly think I like Batman versus Superman less than that, but that's a story for another day. Go listen to our episode on that if you want to hear me bust a gasket over that.
And I want to point out, seeing as how we are talking about bad movies here, Phantom of the Opera, the 2004 Joel Schumacher version, qualifies for It's Not That Bad.
Okay, everybody, stay tuned because I promise you we're going to be covering this.
But let me put it into perspective here before we get into the actual album itself here. Over Rotten Tomatoes has a 84% popcorn meter, 33% critic score.
I think that makes sense, though, because I think in a world that does not really accept opera in the mainstream anyway, opera's a niche thing. And even the movie, it was an opera. Like, this album is very much, it's not a soundtrack in the genuine sense of like, hey, you're going to get a bunch of poppy tunes and stuff that It is 100% the opera stage show brought to the screen. So I think you have to go into this knowing what you're getting into. And I'm sure a bunch of people went to see this and really didn't know the source material. But that tracks, actually.
But let me put it into perspective. On Rotten Tomatoes, there are 5 versions of Phantom of the Opera that have critic scores. This is the second lowest of those 5. The lowest was 1998. Dario Argento's version has a 0% score.
Zero. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty bad. I don't know what that one is, but I almost kind of want to watch it just based off of having a 0%. You almost have to work at that.
I feel like we need to do like 2 weeks in a row. We'll just do one and then do the other.
We'll just do all the crappy Phantom of the Opera movies.
But we're here to talk about the soundtrack released November 23rd, 2004, of course, based on the opera written by Andrew Lloyd Webber. The album, as well as the movie, features Emmy Rossum, Jennifer Ellison, Gerard Butler, Kieran Hines, Simon Callow, Patrick Wilson, Margaret Priest, Miranda Richardson, Victor Maguire, and Minnie Driver. Hit number 1 on the Billboard soundtrack charts and number 16 on the Billboard 200. Now, on the year-end charts for that year, on the soundtrack charts, this actually finished number 2 for the year of soundtracks, behind Ray. So I kind of see that one.
Yeah, that those are two heavyweights fighting right there.
The album is platinum in the US and gold in the UK, Greece, and Australia. And if you saw the opera live, like I have, at the Pantages Theater, because damn, that was good, there's a song on here that wasn't in the actual stage play. Learn to Be Lovely was actually written specifically for the movie by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Charles Hart, and got some accolades, if you will. At the 77th Academy Awards, that song, Learn to Be Lovely, was nominated for Best Original Song, but lost to Al Otro Lado del Rio from the Motorcycle Diaries. And at the 62nd Golden Globes, it was nominated for Best Original Song, but lost to Old Habits Die Hard by Mick Jagger in the movie Alfie. And I guess it's Mick Jagger.
Yeah, what a swing from one thing to the other.
Just a little bit, right? But, you know, we're here to do our thing on Spin, Shuffle, Skip, and that is to pick 3 songs each, a spin, a shuffle, and a skip. The spin, of course, when we hold in absolute high regard. The shuffle, pretty much it's going to be everything on the album, but one that kind of stands out for us. And the skip may not necessarily be a skip on the song itself, because this might be one of those situations where we're skipping because we have to actually pick a song. Them's be the rules of the game. Lyle, you're up to bat first. Your spin pick from the Phantom of the Opera movie soundtrack.
This was one of the hardest spins I've had to pick, because I do love this album, this movie so much, but I think it's the one that drew me in. I saw this movie on a complete wing and a prayer. I did not search this out. My mom was a music teacher, so she used this movie in her lesson plan to teach different kinds of music. And this was given to me by her saying, hey, this is the guy that directed Batman Forever. Take a look at it. And I ended up watching it like 3 times that week because I loved it so much. And the thing that hooked me in the most was the music of the night. That was the song where I was kind of sitting there, I was like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. And then that whole sequence happens when he comes through the mirror and, you know, brings Christine into the, you know, weird underworld under the biggest opera house in the world, I guess, because it's got a whole catacomb underneath it. And the music of the night really drew me into this story, this movie. So I think that has to be my spin.
It's my skip.
What? What do you mean?
I have a reason, though. I do. I have a reason. First of all, I want to make sure that we are fully aware that I am not slagging Gerard Butler in the slightest, because the man is ridiculously talented. However, this is one of those songs that actually has a make or break point in it. If you go back to the song and you think about the part where it's very much like the orchestra pulls back a bit, and the lyric is, close your eyes, let your spirit start to soar.
Yeah.
It is a ridiculously high falsetto, and you have got to freaking nail that. And I don't know if Gerard Butler did nail that. I mean, he's in falsetto, and it's hard to have a strong, powerful falsetto. I fully understand the vocal dynamics that I'm asking of this cast, but it's really a skip because I did have to pick something. So maybe I'm kind of nitpicking, but it's one of those points where you sit there and go, and is that the right note?
Yeah, but then he makes up for it when he's like, let your soul take you where you long to be. And then he has that really punch with that, right?
Yes, but that's not the falsetto part. That's the key thing.
True.
He's still able to use like the full weight of his chest and his throat and all of that. It's literally... I'm skipping on this because of one line in the song that tells you how good the album is.
And it's true. And he does bring out more of the lower side of things. And you can tell he's more powerful with it on songs like The Point of No Return toward the end of the movie, where it's like the final fight's happening. He works better as the villain side of the Phantom and not really the lovey, you know, come to me, let me teach you side of the Phantom.
Yeah. He has a phenomenal vocal presence throughout this film and throughout the album as well. And it's one of those things where it's really just, it is. It's a tricky spot for a male vocalist to have to try to hit that note with that kind of power. I mean, even if you think about, some of the most dynamic voices in music today from the male side of things, singers like Bruce Dickinson and Jeff Tate, right? Singers who have that range, have that ability. And even there, I'm sitting there going, I don't know if they'd be able to hit that note with that kind of strength that needs.
I was talking about this before we sat down to record, and I was asked the question, who could do it today? I bet you Hugh Jackman could do it today.
I don't even know.
The Greatest Showman proves to me that I think that he can.
It's possible. I could be proven very wrong. Is it bad? I'm sitting there going, maybe Timberlake could have done it, but I don't want to see Timberlake.
Oh my
do the
God,
rest of,
I don't want to see Timberlake. This is going to ruin the opera. What opera?
But he could potentially hit that note, though.
Yeah, no, I could see him. I could see Timberlake doing it back in his heyday, for sure. And this is like, has Gerard Butler sang in anything other than this?
Les Miserables, I do believe.
Yes, I keep forgetting. Yep, he was in that one. I forget he's in that one.
So, he's kind of been, he's one of those freakishly multi-talented people that you love and appreciate their talent, and you hate them because you're not that talented.
Yeah, it's true. He can go from spray on abs and 300 to pulling something like this out of his belt. Like,
man has range.
He does.
Did you know Sam's Club isn't a store? It's actually a club. With cool finds and like a whole community. It's a club.
Of course, Jason. It's in the name. Sam's Club.
Oh, yeah. Come join us. Sam's Club.
Stitch Fix. Stop shopping. Get styled.
Not today, sweatpants. Somebody's wearing jeans that fit.
Wow! No photos, please. I'm just a regular dad who happens to have a stylist.
I really look my best when someone else makes the decisions.
Hey, we can all see you two-way mirrors.
Just share your size, style, and budget, and your stylist sends personalized looks right to your door. Stitch Fix. Get started today at stitchfix.com.
I want to hug you. I'm going to hug you. I'm coming in for a hug.
Speaking of range, I have to really, really, really tip my hat to Emmy Rossum in this. I was not familiar with her game at all. And think about it. This movie came out the same year as The Day After Tomorrow, also starring Emmy Rossum. And it is two very different performances, and they're both fantastic. I love The Day After Tomorrow. There's another film that qualifies for the podcast that we haven't touched on yet. And I know that's going to be a very biased episode for me because I freaking love that film. But I love her voice in this. But more so, I love her voice paired with Patrick Wilson. So that's why all I ask of you is my spin pick off of this one. Now, this comes not just from me appreciating the two of their vocals, but I think I've mentioned this before. In high school, I took string music. And this was one of those songs, if I remember correctly, we had to learn it for class. And it's the opening and the end string progression. And it's a very strangely dissonant progression before you get into the song, and then it kind of ends that way. And it adds to the eeriness of the actual play itself. It's one of those ear candy kind of progressions that you have to sit there and go, it's not the kind of progression you would expect to hear in any song, but yet it strangely works in all of this.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think you're right. The best way I think you can describe this whole album, this whole play, any medium you consume the Phantom of the Opera in, it's creepy. It's eerie, but in like a gothic Victorian way. Like it has its own genre of things almost. And you're right. That all I ask of you is one of the best parts of it. The reprise for it is also really good. I almost tried to find a way to cheat the system and use that as my skip, but I figured that I've already used that cop out a couple of times. So I didn't do it this time because the reprise, you get the Phantom that comes at the end, like, you will curse the day. Like, there's so many different progressions, and some of these songs just go all over the place tempo wise, but still find a way to tie it up in a nice little bow.
The interesting thing here is when you realize that when Emmy Rossum auditioned for this, she was told that, okay, well, now you have to audition for Andrew Lloyd Webber in order to be able to get the part.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't know that.
consider that the role of Christine was written by Andrew Lloyd Webber for his wife at the time, Sarah Brightman. So for Emmy Rossum to impress enough to be able to get this role and do exactly what she did, like I thought Emmy Rossum was a good actor beforehand, but I have such a heightened level of appreciation for her talent after listening to this album, because Phantom of the Opera is not an easy role, and the role of Christine especially not an easy task to
even
take.
look at Think of Me.
Yeah.
Think of Me, one of the first songs, like the like she does straight up opera scales.
Yeah.
You can't just learn those overnight. Like there was some very genuine effort put in by everybody in this movie to put their boots on and really throw down on this here.
For my shuffle pick, I'm again singing the praises of Emmy Rossum, because I always love those moments in a play when you have the soliloquy song, the song where someone is literally on the stage by themselves, and of course the music behind them, but no other actors, no other singers. It is their moment to shine. So when you get to Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again, she is killing this, absolutely slaying on this. But this goes also back to, from my musical past, before high school, I was in band, of course, in grade 7 and 8, where I played the timpani drums. Oh, yeah. And the key thing is there's some, it's almost like an off-time timpani staccato part in this near like the end of the song where it's just like, oh, yeah. Okay, that's exactly what you wanted of this.
Yeah.
This was literally tickling all of my musical fancies in one album, but she is so strong vocally in this. And this is one of those moments where you can almost hear the kind of audience cheering after a performance like this.
For sure. And it was to the point when I was not as knowledgeable about the nerdiness as I am now. When I first watched this movie, I assumed that she was like an actual opera singer, because I didn't look into the cast as much back when I was younger. So for the longest time, I was like, yeah, it's Gerard Butler and this some lady they got from opera, from Broadway. And then it was later that I found out by watching The Day After Tomorrow and stuff. I was like, no, she just is that good, and learned that on the fly for this role.
Can you imagine like watching Shameless and be like, oh, okay, cool actress, you know? I mean, what else has she done? What? All right, Law, what is your shuffle pick?
It's the Phantom of the Opera. It is the Phantom of the Opera song. This is one of the most like creepy parts of the movie, and one of the more, don't want to say rock, but one of the more like ingrained with some more popular music tones of it. It's just perfect. I always picture in my mind the scene of them going on the gondola boat through the cat. It is perfect. It was Ghost before Ghost was cool and even a thing. Like, it's just the title track for a reason. Obviously, it was a stage play, but it was perfectly encapsulates everything that this album is kind of representing. This dark, scary story. This is the theme song for your main character as he's bringing, this angel of music down into the depths to kind of make her his own. It was Gerard Butler's, I think, best performance probably on this album. It leaned more into the deepness of his voice.
Yeah.
And didn't have as much like of a high pitched falsetto anywhere in it. It's perfect. It almost was the spin. Basically, this and Music of the Night are tied, but this is my shuffle.
Yeah, it definitely the kind of song that leans into where his strong suit is, like right in the pocket for his voice. But I mean, also, I remember watching much music religiously, and of course, the Phantom of the Opera had a very long run at the Pantages Theater in Toronto, to the point of there was a music video that was done for this song itself. And it was charting on the Much Music video charts. And when you think about it, there's only 2 times that I've seen something chart on the Much Music video charts where I'm just like, I can't believe this is actually charting, but I'm all here for it. There was this, and then there was the Duel of the Fates, the Star Wars Phantom Menace, where they actually
deserved it too.
Yeah,
deserved it too.
Absolutely. But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, this shouldn't be charting over some of these things, but it is. And I freaking love that. Phantom of the Opera always felt a little bit more tailored for radio almost, with the more synth kind of background as opposed to like the grand orchestral sound of it. But I mean, when you consider that this is written in like the 80s, it kind of makes sense as well.
It does. It does make sense. And it's almost timeless in a way where really feel like this is one of those performances that you could put any genre into it. You could make a rock version of this. You could make like a synthy, more leaning into the electronic side versions of these songs, and they would work. They would. There's not a lot of stage shows where you can take the music and kind of plop it into what any genre you want. But if you take a song like Phantom of the Opera and you put it with a metal band, they could make it work. You put it with a bluegrass band, I think you could make it work. It's just this timeless vein that Andrew Lloyd Webber tapped into with the original writing of all this.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, Learn to Be Lovely or Lonely is kind of an outlier a little bit because, of course, it was written as like the end credit music. But I mean, even though it is a slightly different instrumentation on Phantom of the Opera, it's not as completely out there as if you go and watch the musical Chess, and next thing you know, you're rocking out to One Night in Bangkok.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is its own little self-encapsulated universe almost.
Yeah. Well, since you already took my skip pick with the music of the night, and I'm sorry that I had to skip on your spin, the roles are reversed now.
Yes.
But that leaves you wrapping us up with your skip pick.
My skip pick is Masquerade, the song from The Ball. Not for any particular reason. I don't think this is a bad song because, like you said at the beginning of this episode, I don't think any of this is bad. I don't think there's a skip on this album. Please listen to it in its entirety. But this is the one that just gets grating after a little bit because there is so much group vocals. This is the part of the show where you have like 40 cast members on stage and there's intricate dance scenes, and it's that kind of thing, and it almost takes away from the power of Gerard Butler and Emmy Rossum doing their thing. I think it's much more suited when it's them or there's like a couple different people, but when you have like 30, 40 people screaming, that's when it does start to get a slight bit grating. So that's the only reason it's my skip.
I mean, I can see that. I mean, obviously, for the stage play, this is a big moment starting the second act with a big number. And I think it works better as a stage play because you are taking the whole thing in. I will admit, I have not actually watched the Joel Schumacher directed film. So yeah, we're going to get our hands on this and we're going to cover this for the podcast because
I was going to say, listeners, it's too late. He can't end the recording. We will be watching this movie and there will be a long form episode on this.
Oh, heck, it's probably going to be a very easy and very biased episode because, I mean, I already love the story of the Phantom of the Opera. I already love the music of the Phantom of the Opera and the performances in it. So, I mean, I can probably easily, safely say that this is going to be one of those ones where it's going to be very easy to find good things to say about that film. But yeah, I can see how just on album Masquerade doesn't have the punch.
Yeah. And there's other things we'll get into in the movie episode on this, but there were a couple of things with the songs that you could tell it's like, we want to do exactly what they did for the stage play, even if we don't necessarily include that subject matter in the movie. And this is one of those ones as well, where there's lines in there that are ripped right from the play, but they don't really talk about that much in the movie. So that this is the one slight, B. It's the B. It's not like a F, but it's definitely like the B compared to all the A's.
Well, I mean, it's got to be hard to take something that is so designed to be, for lack of a better term, two-dimensional, right?
Yes.
You're in the crowd, they're on the stage. That's kind of like the way it's seen. For Joel Schumacher to put the camera into all of that, it's a different beast. I mean, I'm sure it's probably a better film than, taking like the Rock of Ages movie and comparing that to the stage play there, because
or Cats.
Or Cats. God. Yeah, Cats. Just Cats. I'll tell you right now, Rock of Ages is a much better adaptation of the play than Cats would be of Cats. But is it bad that Cats made me not want to go see the musical?
No, because the musical is also that confusing, grating, and hard to watch.
Just get high and go to Cats.
I love stage musicals, but Cats is a hard pass.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we have come to the end of the show, so I'll remind our listeners what your spin, shuffle, and skip picks are from the 2004 soundtrack of The Phantom of the Opera.
My spin is The Music of the Night. My shuffle is Phantom of the Opera, and my skip is Masquerade.
All right. Well, my spin is All I Ask of You. My shuffle is Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again. And my skip is The Music of the Night. Lyle, thank you so much for this, man. Now, please remind our listeners about your podcast and where they can find it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm on a podcast called Sabotage Everything, contributing to the scene. Me, Connors, and New Hook talk everything wrestling every week, and you can find that over at North Pro Canadian Wrestling's YouTube page.
Unconfirmed if they actually do any opera singing during the podcast.
I will. You just asked me.
All right, dude. Thank you so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners, well, you guys know the drill. If there's an album that you want us to cover on Spin, Shuffle, Skip, or an artist that you want us to cover on either There Can Only Be One or the Under 5 Top 5, hit us up on social media at Only One Cast or go to our website, notthatbadcast.com. And you want to bookmark the page because at the end of the year, Under 5 Top 5 will be taking over this channel. So from November to the end of January, you will be alternating between Under 5 Top 5s and Spin, Shuffle, Skips, giving us a new vast selection of artists to be able to choose from. But until that time, he's Lyle, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is Spin, Shuffle, Skip on the There Can Only Be One podcast channel and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.
Hey, this is Eric Hutchinson. I've joined the Pantheon podcast family, and I hope you'll come check out my new podcast, Songversations with Eric Hutchinson. Each week, we find out what music matters most to the people who define our cultures. I interview famous guests like actors, musicians, comedians, politicians, and everyone in between. We listen to music together, and we talk about the soundtrack of our lives. It's funny, insightful, revealing, and it's a great way to discover new music. So come check me out, Songversations with Eric Hutchinson, wherever you get your podcasts.